A cold melody drifted through the air, marking the silent defeat of the Drakonkin battalion. Darkness swept across the ethereal board, and mist swallowed the fading remnants of color. The once vibrant realm crumbled beneath us in solemn silence. Above us, the stained glass canopy shimmered, slowly turning opaque. It was as though the very stars had blinked out. Not by mechanical shutters, but by a quiet spell that restored the painted ceiling fresco of ancient victories. The chamber, once so lively with challenge and competition, now stood mute. No cheers, no boasts, no whisper of triumph, only the lingering harmony of defeat. It played like a requiem, and we stood at its epicenter. One by one, the digital murals faded in. At first, they seemed like generic sketches, armored lines clashing on distant battlefields. But by the third image, I knew. These were our battles, our plays. The game had recorded our session as art, and now the judges had arrived. Two Drakonkins stepped forward, all high collars and glinting eyes. Their polished scales reflected the last flickers of fading light. The older one, bronze-scaled, Rizer wore a scowl of restrained outrage. His sister, the silver-hued Kayla, carried more restraint. But barely. Rizer looked ready to revoke our win. I waited, pulse steady, but nerves humming. If this realm was anything like the Nexus tournaments of old, I feared a technicality. An obscure rule, a loophole that could be invoked to nullify our win. Then Rizer spoke. Though we object, personally and philosophically, to your victory, he muttered, teeth clenched. We must nonetheless acknowledge the outcome. Kayla bowed. The game was played, the rules followed, the outcome accepted. And thus, Rizer sneered, we abide by the integrity of the ritual. A great tome descended from the fresco, ancient, gilded, sentient. They each touched its spine before sealing it away. Tension bristled in the air like ozone before a storm. And then... Off-worlder, Rizer barked. What did you do? I blinked. Do? Don't mock me with coyness, he snapped. Explain the strategy, the unrefined chaos you unleashed. Why assault every front at once? Why, that? Because I had to, I said plainly. Your formations left gaps, gaps that begged to be tested. Where you saw order, I saw delay. Where you expected honor, I brought efficiency. You understood the formal strategies. So why play the feral? Because had I played your way, I'd have lost. I came from behind, so I had to tilt the board, he seethed. Uncivilized, I nodded. Effective. Rizer fell silent. Then my ally, Kaylin, noble of the wolf-born peaks, stepped beside me. She bent the chaos. Kaylin growled with pride, and through it I struck the heart, a dance of strategy and instinct. Rizer sighed. So be it. The challenge stands. Your names will be added to the charter. 2 golden. Slips shimmered into our hands. I handed Kaylin his, then turned back and extended my hand toward the Drakonkin. To my surprise, Rizer took it. Good game, I said. A challenge met, he replied coldly. How low I had fallen. There I was, cloaked in illusion, weaving, through the muddy streets of Dawn's Reach, not as a high mage or noble scholar, but as a tracker. Like some wet-nosed beast tailing invisible trails of energy. Disgusting. But this was no feral hunt. This was a precision operation, empowered by a wand forged in the sanctums of Astralwood and bonded with crystal-mapped memory channels. I was not following scent. I was analyzing resonances. Still. The comparison annoyed me. Just then, a dockmaster tapped my sleeve. My lord? You're blocking the access ramp. I glanced behind and saw a line of cargo trolls. Waiting. Oh, apologies. I snapped the reins of my stone-bound charger and nudged him forward. My steed currently glamored as a modest porter's mule. Even greatness must disguise itself when duty calls. I arrived at the riverliner dock just in time to meet the ship's overseer, a shuffling, sycophantic Torton named Master Zon. He bowed deeply. "Arch-adept Silver, an honor truly. Might I require passage on the Celestial Lily," I cut in. "Effective immediately. Show me the manifest." Zon obeyed, presenting a thick tome filled with graceful calligraphy. My eyes scoured the last entries. "Lyra Day of Earthrealm, Kalen Rinth of Haifang, found you. I will be joining this voyage," I said. Zon blinked. Yes, of course. I shall prepare your stateroom, my lord." I signed the ledger, felt the warm buzz of the ship's binding spell, and stepped aboard. There, in the cargo bay, stood Kalen's charger, unmistakable. My quarry had not yet departed. Good. And then a flash of peculiar machinery caught my eye, two-wheeled chrome steel and unmistakably Earth-Realmer in design. So they brought the by-treader. Interesting. I sat with Lyra in our newly claimed stateroom, an explosion of velvet and gold trim. She mused about the decor, but I was still turning over what I'd witnessed. That strategy, her swarm assault. I asked, "Lyra, that tactic, was it born of instinct or doctrine?" She grinned. "Doctrine. From games back home. We call it the Zerg Rush." I blinked. "Wait, so your world has full doctrines based on this?" "Millions," she said, waving her device. "Every possible style of conflict turned into games." She flicked the screen, showing cascading maps, units, and tactics I'd never imagined. "You don't practice war?" I asked, stunned. "We do, but we also simulate it, over and over again. So when we have to fight, we've already played the war 10,000 times." I didn't speak for a long time. Her world didn't just breed warriors. It bred students of war. I leaned over the bow rail beside Zon as the ship departed, horns sounding across the river. "Below," crew whispered. "Did you hear about the challenge?" Defeated the twins at lines of succession. With no spell casting, my lip curled. Such gossip. But I noted every word. Inside the lounge, I spotted Rizair and Kayla brooding in silence. The topic was clearly still raw. Insect swarm. Barbaric. Yet effective, Kayla whispered. 6 seats filled. 2 empty. The manifest said 9. Only 7 showed, including myself, observing unseen from a private alcove. Where was Lyra? Where was Kalen? Kitchen staff confirmed. No room service. Bay? Their steeds still present? I frowned. They hadn't left the ship. But they were hiding or moving. Plotting something. I traced a residual echo of mana near the by-treader, a recent concealment field. They were not resting. They were working. Plotting. Executing. Tapped my wand gently, feeling the quiet hum of fate shift. It had begun.